Welcome, guys, to my Love Island USA Season 5, Episode 32 and 33 recap. We're back, guys. Listen, Bachelorette last night was amazing, but 3 hours, that took everything out of me. And then another 2 hours of Love Island I had to catch up on after having a very bad day. But not a very bad day, but a pretty bad day. So we are here, guys. I'm back. Missed you guys. Let's chit chat about these last two episodes. I was laughing last night because I was reading some of the the comments on Twitter. I was like, oh, I didn't really miss nothing because they overflowed this recoupling to the next episode. Hi, Carmen. Welcome. Hey, TA. Hey, Rachel. Hey, Charlene. TA with how I feel. I'm so glad to see Destiny is still here. Fuck the haters. Listen, I don't care what y'all say. Destiny keep a man. But didn't I tell you guys? Remember, I said on Sunday, right? I was here last Sunday. I said, I have a feeling Destiny's going to choose Kyle because he has the least bullshit on him. And was I right or was I right? Hey, Prishay. Charlene's too. Yay. All right, guys. Yeah, so we start the episode 32 off with this heart rage challenge. And make sure you guys, if you haven't, make sure you vote for before the end of the night. I voted for one couple and one couple only because to me they're the only ones that deserve it at this point. I know the rest of them are going to get their votes. I'm just vote for who I like. And there's very little of that at this point. But yes, we start off with the heart rate challenge. We finish up with the girls. It starts Cassie coming in as a construction worker. And she did a good job. She said she turned herself on. And they were like, oh, she put in work and she pulls Leo and grinds upon him on the floor. And I was like, okay, she did her job. Let's see if it works. Destiny comes in as the dominatrix, which was, I loved her outfit. She she was really cute in it. And the whip came out and not Zay being excited for the whip. And she went around the boys. I did not appreciate Berkey's comment about how she raised people's heart rates out of fear. And that's how you know that the producers are his mouth. He's a mouthpiece for the producers because what the hell was that about? And same thing with Mattia. Ooh, here's some hot tea. Katrina says she was in Spaces with Eddie, and he said he had the best connection with Destiny. Funny. Now, I liked the little conversation that they had in Casa, and I was hoping somebody would bring him back because I thought maybe they could make their way back to each other. I really never saw her connection with Zay. I've been telling you guys that from the start. But I think Zay is good at pretending. And so, yeah. So I'm actually not surprised. And I get it. Eddie is a little, his background is, he's a football player, blah, blah, blah. Maybe she was worried that he wasn't genuine. Listen, at the end of the day, most of these Casa boys came out there ungenuine, and so they could only do what they could do at that point. Plus, I think he was focused a little too much sometimes on KK. Um, and so when Destiny finishes up and walks away, Zay's gonna say that she's the best one. So who was it that said that they think that Zay is doing all this to still keep um uh Destiny's attention? I think you guys might be right. I think all of this was all about Destiny not being up his ass. Too bad, so sad. She told you she had unfinished business. Oh dear. Sorry, let me turn down my phone. It's gonna keep going off with emails. Katrina says he said he would explain later why Destiny didn't bring him back. Ooh, I can't wait to hear that one. Shani says Zay has zero game. I don't know how he survived this long. Because he's good at pretending. He's good at being, oh, you heard her. He's sweet and he's kind and he pretends like he likes you and you think it's genuine with that little baby face. Prashay said yes, he did. Mike also said they still have unfinished business and he's open to reconnecting with her when she's out. Let's see how that works. I did like their connection as well. And Shirley says, "Well, I'm here for Eddie and Destiny connection." In the words of Bergie, let's go. Oh wow. Imani comes out in a postal worker uniform, and you know she's a professional dancer. Charlene, I knew what you meant. I just thought it was funny that that's how it came out. um, and she and Scott were on each other, and the eye contact, they said, and I was like, okay, so maybe there's still something with Scott. Um, Taylor comes out in the nurse uniform, and Bergie, she could heal my heart. Blah. She did good, but whatever. Johnny comes out as a firefighter, and Scott and Johnny were like on the top of each other, and really that's the only ITM we got about Scott and Johnny. So I was like, I guess it's not Imani. It's probably more Scott and Johnny. Carmen says you were right about Zay. I can admit that when I'm wrong. Yeah, I listen. I call it like I see it. I don't personally think he likes black girls. Based on some of his social media, I'm not sure if he does. That being said, I also just did not see the connection. And I think Destiny could feel something. That's why she didn't do anything also in the hideaway. Because, I mean, they could have made out a little bit. But, no. Nothing at all. But I still think he wants, like, I think it's a little bit of ego driven that he can't get her to focus on him. I think this is what all those conversations were trying to be about now. I agree with whoever was saying that here, that he wanted that to keep her attention. Like he was trying to get her to keep, and that, like, you're barking up the wrong tree with Destiny trying to do that. That's not what she's going to do. You're just going to make her mad. So why bother? All right. So intermission happens. Kenzo is still pissed. Carmen is upset because she can tell. And I'm like, so they're either faking a fight or it's a real fight because they're actually been boyfriend and girlfriend. And in his head, she was doing too much still. So Leo comes out as a baseball player. Now it's time for the boys. And he literally went to every single girl and serviced them well. And then he kisses Cassie and then lets her roll on the floor. Mattia came out as a devil, and that was uncomfortable as hell. He looked not good, and he went for Johnny, but and then Kyle comes out of the box, so he looked pretty good. He's having fun, and Imani ITMs. Kyle can absolutely put on a show. And we know she meant that as a shade. Leo did do his thing. Somebody was telling me that earlier, and I was like, eh. And then I saw it, and I was like, yeah, he did. Leo, best performance. Mattia, pure cringe. Absolutely. Next up is Marco. He comes in, of course, as Hannah's counterpart, Cowboy. And they said he had Channing Tatum vibes. He was just upset that he forgot to take off his vest. Next up, or is it last up? Oh no, next up is Kenzo as a pirate. Literally says, I only came here for one girl, and goes to Carmen, and that was it. And yeah, the girls were disappointed. They were frustrated. They, like, even Carmen was like, why would he do that? Now he's making it an issue for me. Like, and I would care, except for I think they had a connection on the outside, so I think all of this is ridiculous. Last up is Bergie, looking like your down home southern boy with an American flag and some tight shirts and tight pants, shorts. Exactly, Crochet. Scottsdale scammers need to go. We're going to talk about how we know they scamming too. She broke character today. Zay comes out as a doctor, and he was bad. He danced a little bit on Destiny, but he didn't really do much. And my whole thing is, if you were so into Imani, like, why didn't you give her something? Anyway. Scott comes out as a fighter pilot, and he does his job. He was okay. And then he picks up Imani, and she says she blacked out. And we saw he did something similar with Catherine, so he knew this, he knew that this would work to get a girl's heart rate. Anyway, so for the girls, Zay's heart rate got raised by Destiny, and Leo got raised by Imani, Bergie by Taylor, Mattia by Imani, Marco by Hannah, Kyle by Cassie, Kenzo by Cassie, and Scott by Johnny. And for the boys, it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. Four ways a Leo with Hannah, Destiny, Carmen, and Taylor. Johnny got raised by Zay. Scott got raised by Imani. And Cassie got raised by Scott. And was it that Imani could not pick Scott? Somebody tell me. Did Scott express he doesn't want Imani, or did the Villa tell Imani she was not allowed to pick Scott as an option. Questions that we need answers. Sharnice says, Leo did it for me. He did a good job, man. So Kenzo and Carmen argue. She went too far. She didn't feel like she did anything with anybody. And then he brings up Hannah. Hannah? Why are you bringing up Hannah to her friend about how Hannah handled the heart rate challenge? And then she gets upset and says, you made me feel like shit. And she starts crying. He's like, but Hannah. And it's like, and then you're going to do it again? You're going to do it again. Okay. He just felt like she was kissing people on the neck. He's sorry, but he just, he wants to make sure that they're good. She's the only girl that he wants. She's like, if you act like this, how you going to act like in the real world? Blah, 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 blah. Tia says, Kenzo with all the weird vibes towards Carmen and his heart rate was raised by Cassie. Just, that's why I think it was fake, because like you would think, okay, you got mad, but then when your heart rate gets raised by another girl, you might want to just be like, you know what, fine, I'm gonna leave it alone. But no, because remember, they need tests, otherwise they might not look and appeal to the audience. So Cassie and Johnny talk, and Johnny asks, how are you feeling? And wants to see where her head is at. And then Cassie's just kind of like, oh, well, I'm used to being the boss in a relationship. Like, what would our dynamic be? And Johnny said she's more the submissive type. And she says, her top 3 right now is Cassie, Scott, Mattia. And Cassie expresses that she and Leo still have a connection. She's like, I understand about you and Leo. They're magnetic. There's something still there. Crochet says the challenge proved to me that they know each other, because you would not get mad over a challenge until some kind of history. Exactly. Kenzo and Carmen still talking. Big miscommunication. Blah, 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 blah. Scammer. Leo, you got my heart racing, to Cassie. But you didn't raise your heart rate, boo. It was Imani. Cassie, love the connection still. Just want to make sure you would never do that to me again. Had convos with Johnny. We could be great, but Leo's my best friend. He's trying to get her to kiss her. And she's like, no. And she just keeps trying to slow him down. And she doesn't want to make it seem like she's easy. Yeah, Cassie learned from the KK and the Keenan situation. She can't take this man back too fast. He has to work for it. So the audience will be back on their side, which they are. Johnny's in the dressing room. She's like, I wish me and Leo could cuddle platonically. But Leo and Cassie are out in the kitchen cuddling, kissing slightly. I don't know where I left off. But I think it's the next morning, and Destiny says that she enjoyed yesterday. She has to whip everybody into shape. Carmen and Kenzo are all of a sudden magically all good now, guys. Nothing's wrong. One night's sleep and some making out, and they're all good. Cassie and Carmen do talk, and this is the one thing where I miss KK because now all Cassie does is talk to Carmen, and it's annoying. I miss KK. She was the only other person who sat down and listened to Cassie's BS. So yes, her and Leo are magnets. There's just really strong connection there, but there's also a strong connection with Johnny. But it's hard to compare. She doesn't want to compare the two, and she shouldn't compare the two. And so it's just a hard decision for her. Johnny and Mattia finally check in, and she does let him know she knows that she has options, and he lets her know he just wants her. And she's like, yeah, I think you're like the least dramatic person here. And she says in her ITM, she feels like her head is everywhere. And Scott, Mattia, Cassie, she doesn't know who to pick. She feels like Scott's the front runner because he's more fun. And then Scott pulls Johnny for Mattia. And she just kind of joked that he hides his feelings in jokes. And he said, you're not wrong. But really, she likes the fact that he is no pressure and that they're interesting. There's a sexual connection that they share with one another. So, hey. Carmen ate a grilled cheese sandwich, talking with Kenzo, then went back to her fake fairy tale. Nothing to see here exactly. So Leo and Cassie, she does bring up Cassie to Leo that she kissed Johnny, that they had a connection. And Johnny walks in while they're talking, and then she walks out and she says she's going to leave them alone, and then they start kissing. So they're all back on track. Imani and Zay have a conversation, and really it's like they hype each other up, and then they say they have lots in common, which to me, when people say they have lots in common and then don't say what that in common is, I believe the producers made you guys have a conversation, and y'all don't really have much in common. Y'all just probably have to pick each other at the recoupling. But they do talk about being just social drinkers. They don't like going out too much. And I was like, okay, I see nothing here. I'm sad to say that because I really like Imani. And I was hoping that she would pick somebody who would make me could vote for her. But alas, Zay and Imani is a no-go for me. Imani does get a text and said tonight there will be the final recoupling where girls choose wisely. And everybody's shook. Oh my God, how could it be so soon? We do get Cassie conflicted. She's grateful to have explored with Johnny. She knows that she is bi now. Leo would be crushed if she doesn't choose him. Johnny sits down with Scott and just says, I want somebody who is all in on me. And Scott says to Johnny, you want me? I am yours. So the recoupling, which was over 2 episodes, Taylor chooses Bergie, no shock. Carmen chooses Kenzo, no shock. Hannah chooses Marco, no shock. Destiny chooses Kyle. Now, for other people, it was a shock because apparently they decided not to show whatever conversations that they've been having with each other for the last few days. And I already told you guys, Kyle has not been in any mess. Did he kiss Johnny at a challenge? Absolutely. Did he get into a bunch of mess with a bunch of people? Absolutely not. And so I felt that was more of Destiny's speed. She would appreciate this. And that is exactly what she said. And she actually said she was ready to leave the villa until the last few days when they had the conversation. And I believe her. Imani then is confused, and she seemed upset, and I was confused because you don't like Kyle. So why are you upset? Did you just think he would be there to pick and you guys could rekindle something? But for the last few days, you've been hating on him, and he doesn't seem to like you. And I don't understand why. Because I do feel like y'all connection fizzled out of nowhere. But I was so confused at Imani being kind of upset. TA says, I like Imani, but Destiny chose Kyle. Seemed like she felt away. Oh, see, I'm not the only one who felt it. Like, I was so confused. I was like, for the last few days, he's got to sleep out in soul ties. Why are you upset? I haven't seen you had a conversation with this guy at all. Now, mind you, I haven't seen him have a conversation with Destiny. But I already told you I already figured out that she would pick him based on how he moves, which is what she said. So Imani chooses Zay over Scott, and I was so confused. And now we know that they have to give their choices to the producers. So very confusing. All of it was confusing. So then Cassie is up next, and this is a cliffhanger from episode 32, goes into 33. And we know that she chose Leo because if you saw the first look, Leo in his braided up head was walking around the villa like he owned the place. So we knew that Cassie had already chosen Leo. Destiny said Leo has 9 lives, which I thought was hilarious because X. And so it comes down to Johnny choosing between Mattia and Scott. And here I was hoping she would send Scott home to Catherine. But alas, she chooses Scott and Mattia is dumped. I mean, not a bad side effect of her choosing Scott. But that means Scott's going to be here for a bit. So Cassie and Johnny talk and after recoupling, and Johnny says she's feeling a little hurt. But again, she understands. And I said this, like, I was worried that she would kind of hurt Johnny's feelings, but I think she really gets it. Leo and Cassie have something. And I still love how everybody's so forgiving for Leo. Like, oh, he slept with another girl, but he took his lickings and kept on ticking. And I'm like, that's not how that's supposed to work, but Cassie likes it. I'm okay with it. But she does say to Johnny, thank you for giving me the time of day, and thank you for getting to know me. Cute, but thus ends the story of Cassie and Johnny. And her heart was leaning to Leo, and even when she doesn't want to, she ITMs. Hopefully hopefully he's good going forward. But even Johnny says, I think he has changed for the better. I think you have both changed for the better. I've seen growth in both of you, and I'm happy for them. She ITMs. Kyle and Destiny have a chat, and he's like, he's a fine gentleman. And she's like, she's a hard nut to crack. And he said, nothing in this world that is worth it is easy. And Destiny does bring up, just so that they can get it out the way, are they both fine with the fact that their prior couplings recoupled with each other? And Kyle said, it's not even a worry or thought in my head. And I think they made a little joke about them being chocolate and a little nuts, and I thought that was so cute. I'm sorry, acknowledgement and a poem does not make up for sleeping with another woman and saying she's the one after 2 days of knowing her. Listen, you and I, Crochet, we here. These people that's in the comments, I don't know. I don't know. They were the same ones saying that KK needed to stand up and KK needed to have more self respect, but they also are pushing Cassie and Leo like he did something. I don't get it. Amani and Zay talked and they said they had good conversations, but then later he says they only had one conversation. So I need to understand, was it conversations or one conversation? And they both say they're overthinkers and they're going to stop doing that. And we see later that Zay does not do that. Cassie and Leo talk, and she wants to trust him, but she can't say that she fully trusts him. He will have to prove it going forward every day. And he said he's going to do everything in his power to do just that. He doesn't think he will ever hurt her in that way again. They are still in love with each other. Scott and Johnny kiss in bed. Woo. Kyle and Destiny, they were hugging and cuddling. I thought that was cute. And we all know that Destiny is very picky and choosy about who she hugs and cuddles up with in bed. Zay then goes the next morning to the boys. And somebody explained to me, was Bergie not there? Wasn't Bergie there? I just need somebody to confirm with me because I couldn't rewind it. I didn't have time. But he tells the boys he's not trying to force a relationship. He just thinks of Destiny as a friend. And the boys tell him, no, that's great. That's fine. Just, get yourself together. Don't force anything, but don't leave. It can happen. And I'm just like, dude, we're in the final week. Like, if you just see somebody as a friend, that's not, if there's not even a sliver of possibility for a romantic connection, that's ridiculous. And I personally don't think Zay likes black women. I think he used Destiny to get in the villa, and I think that Nimani had to couple up with him. Okay, TA saw it. Bergie was in that conversation when Zay wanted to friend zone Imani. Thank you. I know it wasn't crazy. I saw his little pale white self there. So Bergie does get a text, and they guys will be cooking for girls, and they are headed to the market to make dinner. Charlene says Zay told Marco and Bergie, I don't know if Scott was there. Right, but I have a feeling he said it a couple of times, or it got back from the two people sitting there, two other boys, because even Kyle apparently heard it in some way and told Destiny during their conversation. We didn't see it, but he knew. And so we've had these little go out and make dinner and shop for dinner things before. And so the guys are excited for it. Kyle is excited. Destiny's not so excited because she said, didn't you say you can't cook? He's like, no, I got this. We want to do this. And she's like, all right, I'm gonna leave you to it. So the boys do go to the market. I didn't write any of the market scenes. I did not write them down, guys. So Johnny and Carmen are talking while the boys are gone. Talk about her decision. She's happy with her decision. She feels like she made the right one. That Mattia leaving actually helped solidify that too, that she made the right decision. She's happy and content. Cassie and Leo's connection is undeniable, so she's happy for them. Their little love triangle, they describe it. It was funny. Now Imani is talking to the girls, And she said they had a long conversation and they never talked before, but he's sweet and she likes the qualities that he has and he focuses on the little things. And I'm like, oh, okay. She is totally seeing this wrong, differently. Now, this is my thing. Everybody was up in arms at Destiny, and like, I get it. You can probably be upset at how Destiny handled it, but not that she handled it at all in any way. My personal opinion is, if I am sick and tired, and I've had this same conversation with you 4 or 5 times, I'm not going to sit there on camera, have another conversation with you trying to mug me off. Sorry. Now you're just trying to play in my face, and I won't allow it. And I agree with her. So you might not like how she went about it, but I don't think she was wrong in going about it at all. No, I'm not going to talk to you. I don't want to have this conversation. My back hurts. My neck hurts. I'm tired. I don't want to deal with you. And then move on to somebody else. Oh, yeah, we're done because he already made a decision. We're good. But I think he was trying to probably crumb her and get her to like stay so that if he didn't find a connection, he could go back to her. I think that's what that was all about at this point. He wanted a safety net. And I think I mentioned this before. He wanted her to sit there and wait for him to go and explore other connections. And then when she had nobody and he had nobody, she had no choice but to take him back. And what Destiny did instead was got herself a Kyle. And so the boys do come back. And oh, wait, they were in the okay, so here's the part where Carmen messed up. The girls were in the dressing room and they were talking about the guys cooking and how they have done. And Carmen says how Kenzo hasn't touched any silver utensil in 2 or 3 months. How do you know that? How do you know that, Carmen? And I think we were discussing this at the top of the hour. How do you know that, Carmen? She messed up. Sharnese says she did. Pretty Shay picked it out too. Carmen messed up. She told on herself. Because how do you know this? There's no way for you to know this. Y'all haven't even been in the villa together for a month. Scamming us. Scamming us. Anyway, they sit down to eat. I did not understand why everything had garlic in it. Did anybody else understand? Did anybody else get why they had garlic in everything? Garlic in the noodles, garlic on the bread, garlic, garlic, garlic. Y'all gotta kiss each other. Sometimes y'all gotta kiss multiple of each other. Don't do that. Prishay said Ori was trying to get a reaction out of her, so she. Well, listen. Fair. Also that. Rachel said, yes, Carmen exposed herself. It's on Reddit. I told you. If you like you, I don't know how many people was paying attention, but I heard it and wrote it down as soon as I heard it. And I normally don't pay attention to anything that comes out of Carmen's mouth, but I got that one. I got that one. She told on herself. She literally told on herself and Kenzo. Get them out of here, Scottsdale scammers. Prege says, Carmen and Kenzo have their apartment and dog at home that they need to get to. Absolutely. Shani says, LOL, that's the only way they could make it taste good. The garlic? Oh my god, that's terrible. But they had sauce and meat. Oh. Rachel says, I don't know how these people mess up pasta. They make it, I don't know either. Like, the trick to pasta is You boil the water in salt, add the pasta, and then you make sure that the noodles don't get too soft. It's so simple. And I know it might take patience because you want to walk away from the pot. Don't walk away from the pot. Don't walk away from the pot. And then don't be stirring it up and mashing it. No. You do a light toss with some olive oil and some garlic, maybe a little basil, Italian seasoning, and then you just leave it. Maybe some parm. So let's just and then you just fold it in. Light touch with the pasta. Why are we doing this? It looks like rice. Yes, that's why I'm so confused. And the UK is closer to Italy. Somebody teach them something. Anyway, the girls all ITM'd that the food was good and they were shocked. Destiny liked the garlic bread. Cassie liked the noodles. I mean, it didn't look good, but I'm glad it tasted good. And then they went around the table and say what they were all thankful for. And I was like, some producer is just real messy. Because they talk about they thankful for each other. And they're about to get a text where they got to dump one another. Craziness. Anyway, they're all grateful to be here. Text comes into Hannah. And they got to vote off the least compatible couple. Dumped from the island. And so I had every thought that Destiny was going home. I know people have vendettas against her. She didn't do nothing, but they were gonna send her home. So I wouldn't have been shocked. They wanted Destiny home before a public vote. So we do get kind of a little bits of what the couples were all thinking. Johnny and Scott said Zay is not into Imani. Shock. Wait, was that one? Yes. And I was like, oh, so he heard it too. I was like, oh wow, so Scott heard it too. Okay, so it's just spreading around the villa that this girl is not liked by this guy. Then they talk about Kyle and Destiny, and Kyle says he surprised her. Kyle says she surprised him. Carmen and Kenzo talk, and he's like, oh, she's like, what prevented them from getting to know each other in Casa? This is from the girl who was with Victor, tried to switch to Bergie for no reason, and then was getting to know somebody else for no reason. Then Kenzo comes in. How about you not talk about whether or not whenever a connection could come in with somebody? Just because your real life boyfriend walked in the villa and y'all fell in love within a week and are boyfriend and girlfriend, let's not do that. Let's not do that. No. Shani says Marco's been fighting for his life to get Destiny sent home. Oh, for real. Every 2 seconds. Count Destiny questions Scott's intentions. Hannah and Marco discussed that Johnny and Scott might not be a good connection. Zay feels nothing for Imani. And that's what we got from them. Mind you, remember that for how they voted. Cassie and Leo discussed Johnny and Scott, worried that he's not genuine. He could hurt her. You know, that's their throuple. So they want to keep her nice and safe. Exactly, Sharnice. Miss Carmen, the slow burner. The slow burner. All of a sudden, connections must come quick. Zay and Imani talk, and Imani is like, that's how Kyle looked at me, is the way he's looking at Destiny. So he was faking it with me. Is he faking it with her? And I was like, wow, that's a leap. But I mean, fair, but also a leap. Maybe that's how he looks or reacts when he's interested in somebody, and then the interest between you guys dies. I don't know. She still seems very, very hurt, guys. I don't know. I don't know. Um, Taylor to Bergie. Johnny has had a lot of connections. She went from Cassie, Leo, now to Scott. Is it genuine? Has it been too many connections? And that was pretty much what they ITM'd to discussed with each other. They then have to get up in front of the villa and give their decision. Carmen and Kenzo are first, and they picked Zay and Imani. Imani and Zay are second, and they picked Destiny and Kyle. Destiny and Kyle are third, and they picked Zay and Imani. And Taylor and Bergie picked Scott and Johnny. And I want to understand. Johnny's your friend, Taylor. A. B. Bergie, you were sitting right there for that conversation when Zay said he's not interested in Imani. So why? Why are you voting, not voting Imani and Zay? Like, what kind of BS is that? So I'm side-eyeing Taylor and Bergie because I have a feeling that was gameplay. They were trying to get Scott out the villa before he could beat them in a final. Just my personal observation. Hannah and Marco stand up and make themselves look like assholes by saying that the people they want dumped is Kyle and Destiny. Marco, you was there for that conversation where Zay says he does not like Imani romantically and he is not going to force a connection. Just say you don't like Destiny, you're trying to get her kicked out of the villa. I would respect it more. But now this made me lose all respect for Hannah and Marco. Because I would understand if Hannah did not get this information. Marco withheld it. Marco was pushing Destiny, Destiny, Destiny. And Kyle gotta go. Because like Zay and Imani are great. It's Destiny and Kyle gotta go. But no, he told your ass that Zay only likes Imani as a friend. Cassie and Leo chose Zay and Imani for the exact same reason as most other people. He has expressed he only likes her as a friend. Johnny and Scott stand up and make the final decision where Scott does lay out that Zay expressed to people in the villa that he was not interested in Imani. Zay goes off on Johnny and Scott, says that they made her, Imani, feel bad. They only had one conversation. How dare they do this to them? And it's not fair. Imani goes off and says, oh, there's people who just got coupled up too, and I don't feel like their connection's any stronger, blah, 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 blah. I am sad to see my girl Imani go. I really am. But I was not going to vote for her. She was with Zay. So it's probably for the best. I did not want to have to not do that. Rachel says Marco is always trying to sabotage Destiny. I don't want him anywhere near the money. I refuse to vote for him. After tonight, I'm sorry. The fact that Hannah allowed Marco to do that, I'm like, girl, I love you, but I refuse to allow you guys to win off of my vote. So I will not be voting for them, but I love Hannah. If they win, they win. They're probably going to. But I could see Hannah, Marco, Cassie, Leo splitting the vote, and somehow Taylor and Bergie sliding in there, guys. I could see it. Prochet says they don't. For real. He made it worse by doing all that. Scott bringing that UK messages. He sure did. But I told you guys, Scott is very forthright and he don't stand on what he believes in. Zay, you don't want to go toe to toe with Scott. Truth. Prochet says, why are you mad at something you said and had no problem saying only a day after y'all were coupled? Exactly. It was unnecessary. If there's something potential of romantic there, you keep that shit to yourself. But I don't think he ever liked black girls. So thankfully Zay is gone. I am ding dong. He is gone. I feel bad for Imani. I will miss her, especially her friendship with the girls. That little conversation her and Destiny had, because they're mature women, and I love that about them. I just could not. I'm not voting for her with that man. So, and guys, that is it. Scottsdale scammers have all the way exposed themselves. Imani is gone. Destiny and Kyle are building something. Whether it will get far enough to get them to the finals, I don't know. But that is who I voted for on 2 devices. I don't care. Somebody said Destiny's got to go or something like that in my thing, and I really could care less. I'm gonna vote for her. She'll go when when it's ready for her to go. Mercedes says, who is everybody else voting for? What a blessing to get Mattia and Zay out in one episode. Hallelujah! Praise. Listen, 2 in 1 shot. Love it. How many more couples do we have left? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 couples. I think only 5 or 4 get to the final, so we might have one more dumping before final dates. Maybe 2 more dumpings. And yeah, guys, we're in the home stretch. Rachel says I voted for Destiny. I want her in the final. Same. TA says I voted for Destiny too. Yay! So listen, everybody can say it's Destiny's time to leave. It's her time to leave. It's her time to leave. It's not. We gonna see. We'll make our way to Destiny in the final. I personally think. I already told you guys. I saw it coming. I knew that she would pick Kyle just based off of how I've been seeing things being edited in the villa. He wasn't in too much mess, and I do like them. There's physical touch there, which for Destiny, she's not always about that life, and especially so off the bat. And he is, he knows she's a nutty one, and he said he gonna ride with it, and so that's the best that we can hope for at this stage when they just recoupled. Johnny and Scott, I will not vote for it. Scott needs to go home to Catherine. I don't see it for him and Johnny. I don't think they're going anywhere. I will never vote for Hannah and Marco after tonight because you heard Zach. Bergie and Taylor are 2 game players. I see y'all. Kenzo and Carmen are scammers. Cassie and Leo They are Cassie and Leo. Good luck to them. They probably will win or something. All right, guys. Thank you for joining me. Any more comments? Let's see. Shani says Destiny leaves everybody a chance, but she just really likes black men. I think so too. That's where I'm getting from it. I think her strongest connections, aside from Harrison, but again, Harrison, I think it was. I think she was snowed a little bit, but based on chemistry, I think Mike and this Kyle one. I think Mike would have been over the Kyle for me, but like Mike was more sexual chemistry, like off the bat. Kyle is more of a connection, like just comfortable connection, like they could ride this out and not like in a friend vibes. TA says, thank you for the recap. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you guys for coming. Thank you guys. So I will see you guys on Thursday. If you have not, make sure you are subscribed to this channel. Hit the notification button so when I go live, because things be late, you will get a notification. And also follow me on all social media platforms, Entertainment in Color, on Twitter, Facebook, Threads, Spoutable. Wait, the Twitter's going right now. I don't know, it might end up being just on Spoutable, because why is Elion taking away the block button? I need to be able to block people. We need to be able to block trolls, guys. That's ridiculous. So, and on Spill, I think that's the only other app I'm on. And guys, I will see you on Thursday. And guys, enjoy the one day off from the drama. We will enter Total Drama Island Thursday again. Have a good one. Bye.